Andy?
Actually, it's the band called Thang.
Strang Thang.
That's what it should stay there. Not
The
this is
CSL.
not the CSL music team. This
It's
is
the Strang
Thang.
Thang. All right, take it
Those who've
away,
been
my
here
brother.
Before know that.
Oh no.
So what we're going to do today, it's okay, guys. Just relax. All right, it's just some papers. All right, jeez. We're going to do a Benny King song, probably one of the, not probably, is one of the best-known songs in the history of music. It was used as a part of a piece called Play for Peace. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Remember when Rebbe Soul was here and he did the piece where he had gone around and recorded the Kaddish prayer at different locations? Well, there was a group that took this song, it's a short documentary, and went around the world and recorded. Started with one guy and a guitar. I went around the world and added and added and added. So we're going to do that piece for you now. And as usual, if you know the song and feel the urge, keep it to yourself. Okay.
He's so loving. We love you too.
Okay. Kathy, Jeff, Rick, Andy, Steve. Strength thing. 2, 3, 4.
I'm such a proud papa. I got every bit of it. I'm going to put it on Facebook. I'm like videoing. I'm going, what are you doing? It's like your kids you're videoing. He's like, I got every bit. Don't worry, guys. Tricks or treats? Where's Judith? Oh, there she is. Did you see Judith? She came all set up for Halloween. Got a little spider on her head. Look out. I love that. Happy Halloween, everybody. You ready? Okay, here we go. Tricks are for treats. No, tricks are treats. Tricks are for kids. Tricks or treats. What does this talk about? Sometimes the titles come to you and you're like, whoa, where was that one? But really, this came from that affirmation. I worked with a practitioner at Founder, Sandra Powell, and she used to always say, whenever some challenge came up, there's a blessing in this lesson. And that's where the affirmation came from, and that's where this came from. So I went this week looking at where these treats and tricks came from, and I was on YouTube trying to think, looking for inspiration. Then I went to Facebook. The internet is so sticky. You just go over here and then you're over there. And while I was there, I saw this strange video. Have you seen this video of the guy that holds the door open for people that are too far away for it to actually be held open? So he's like somebody is out there on the sidewalk and he's holding the door right here, this far away, right? And he's just like, and what's interesting is without him coaxing at all, he's just standing there holding the door. People start running, to get to the door, like, oh, thank you so much. They're just racing to get to the door. And I'm like, that is so trippy. But what that really tells me is that our inner nature is to be courteous and kind. Here's somebody, not the person who's holding the door. I mean, yeah, they're trying to be kind, but they're trying to make you look silly on YouTube. But our nature is to go ahead and run with it and help the guy out who's helping us out by racing to the door. And the other one, I like to do this one. I walk into the mall behind somebody that's holding hands, or maybe there are a guy that's next to his girlfriend, and you walk up, and you look at him, of course, get the permission first, and then you just sort of slide your hand into her hand, and she'll grab it, and you're now holding hands with a stranger, and then she looks back and goes, oh, my God. But see, that reveals another thing to me, that we're actually our nature is to be very trusting. I mean, think about it. You go to the airport, you've packed all your belongings, and you put them in the bag to go to somewhere. Well, not all your belongings, just the ones that they will let you stuck in the cargo cabinet up on top. But you've got that much of your belongings in there. And then some perfect stranger. I did this recently. I left my laptop at TSA, and I'm at the gate. And I didn't want to carry all my stuff back, so I look at this guy. I don't know who he is. Hey, would you watch my stuff? I left my laptop. Zoom. I take off. I come back. My stuff is still there, of course. How many of us have done something like that, right? The stranger never takes your stuff, doesn't rifle through it. The TSA doesn't even know we were in your bag. But like I need a note that you were in your bag. I know how I packed my bag. Obviously, someone was in my bag. This is different now, but that's another story. So, people basically are honest, right? We're courteous. Our nature is to be kind and to be trusting. So the tricks in life, as the tricks in life come to us, I want you to remember that about our basic nature, that we are kind, we are courteous, we are trusting. So when things come that look so funny, don't worry about it. It's okay. Now, this idea of the trick goes back a long time, mythologically, anthropologically, archaeologically. I guess they find some stuff the tricksters did. They had this trickster. In the American West, the trickster was frequently the coyote. The coyote would do something crazy, and he would be there really to teach you a lesson. You see, the tricksters are the rule breakers. They're kind of mischievous. They're doing things that you dearly wouldn't want to have happen to you, like opening the door for you or holding your girlfriend's hand when you're walking down through the mall or something like that. They're the clown. They're the troublemaker. But they also open you up to an understanding of a certain amount of wisdom that's available in the world. So they're wise. They're very clever in how they go about doing what they do. They reach down to that primordial creativity around each and every one of us that allows us to dip into a wellspring of something that we didn't know we had access to perhaps sometimes. So they are, in many ways, the knower of our deeper self. So the tricks in life that come up in life are there to help you move forward to that deeper knowing of who you truly are, the part that gets shut down by all the conditionings in life. One of my favorite tricksters, other than the stories of the coyotes and the foxes from the American West, is the Mullah Nasruddin. Are you familiar with the Mullah Nasruddin? Nasruddin is the trickster of the Arabic world. He does wonderful things. Here's an example of how Nasruddin works. He went to his neighbor and he said, excuse me, neighbor, may I borrow a boiling pot? I need to cook something. He says, oh, of course, sure. So he borrows the pot. A couple of days later, he comes back. He gives the neighbor 2 pots, a little smaller pot and a big pot. He says, 2 pots? I gave you 1 pot. He says, yes, but your pot gave birth. So the neighbor says, thank you, and takes the second pot. A week or 2 goes by. Nasruddin goes back over to the neighbor again. Can I borrow your pot? Well, sure, of course. He takes the pot. He never brings it back. The neighbor says, hey, you never brought my pot back. Oh, your pot died. It died? Pots can't die. Well, you believed it birthed another pot. Of course it could die. So that's how Nasruddin thinks. He makes you think, right? That's what the tricksters do. They make you think. You know, we often hear in some religious teachings that Satan is the devil. But he's a trickster. He's the trickster angel to help you find your deeper self. The story of Jesus in the 40 days, right? When Satan came to him. That was what was going on. It was the trickster. He was trying to see if he really knew the depth of who he really was. Which is why he said, you know, hey, Jesus, yo, dude, break your fast. I'll give you some food. Hey, excuse me, man does not live by bread alone. I got this covered because I and the Father are one. I don't need your bread. Oh, okay, I'll go away. A couple days later, hey, I'll tell you what, why don't you jump off this cliff because the angel will save you, right? I'll save you even. No. Do not test God. See, Jesus said, I don't need to do that because I know where my faith is. So I don't need to go by your crazy test, you little trickster. You get away from me. Which he actually does say the next time when Satan comes to him and says, I'll give you all the riches of the world. Get ye behind thee, Satan. Get away from me. I don't need you. The Father and I are one. I already have all the riches in the world. I live in the kingdom of the good. See? So the trickster Satan came to him to just help him realize who he really was. The tricks in your life come to help you realize who you really are. You see, this wonderful book on myths and ancient stories was written by Richard Erdős and Alfonso Ortiz. And they say the trickster of this, the trickster. He represents the potency of nothingness, of chaos, of freedom, a nothingness that makes something of itself. See, this divine nothingness of which we come from, we need a reminder every now and then that life may seem chaotic, but we have a freedom to move beyond that into something bigger than ourselves. That's what the trickster's all about. So that's what the tricks or treats are all about. They move us to a deeper place. You know, years ago, I made a decision a long time in my career that I was gonna work in Los Angeles. I knew I wanted to work in Los Angeles. I was in Austin, Texas, and a friend of mine said, you know, you need to make a couple of jumps along the way. You just don't go from Austin, which at the time was the 130th market in the country, and LA number 2. That's a pretty big jump. And I was like, no, I can do this. He says, no, you need to go around and check out other places. Maybe go to Oklahoma City or Houston or something like that. So I thought, okay, I'll try this. So when a job came available in Houston, I applied for it, and I got it. And I went back to Austin to tell them that I'd gotten this job in Houston. And the news director says, wow, you're going to leave us and go to Houston? Are you sure you're going to go to the number 3 station? You're going to leave the number 1 station in Austin to go do weekends at the number 3 station in Houston. Are you sure you want to do that? And I'm thinking, this is my big break. Yeah, I want to do that. And he says, I'll tell you what. Why don't you stay here and become our Monday through Friday weatherman, and we'll give you a raise. It's like, is this a trick? Are you serious? And he says, yeah, I'm serious. Okay, let me just let them know, because I told them I was going to take the job in Houston. So I called Houston. Hello, can I speak to Dick? What? When? Really? Thank you. Yeah, I'll take the job in Austin. Dick got fired the day after he offered me the job. My God. Tricks are treats. It was incredible. Dr. Holmes says, Nature will not let us stay in any one place too long, just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and advancement of the soul. Won't let us stay somewhere too long. So when you're in the depths of whatever the challenge is, what's feeling like a trick, what feels like not so much fun in your life, don't worry. You're not going to have to stay there very long. In fact, you're only going to stay there long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfoldment and the advancing of your life. You see? This has come to pass. It's not going to stick around. Don't fret over it. Just keep on stepping. Do the Dr. Holmes things. Treat, move the feet. That's how this works, you see. It's really about your perception. And if you have the confidence that life is actually good, you can move through anything. You know, there's a story of the samurai and the tea master. This great samurai warrior. He was like the most honorable. He was actually like a cool dude, even though he went around killing people. He was a cool samurai with a lot of honor. And so much so that he welcomed having a tea. He had the tea master, the best tea master of all, went with him everywhere. And one afternoon, this great samurai took a nap. And while he was napping, the tea master, who kind of admired the samurai but also had a little bit of jealousy about how much accolades he would receive, decided to put on his garb, put on his samurai outfit, and he went out walking through the town wearing his outfit. And little did he know that the arch enemy of this particular samurai was in town, saw him, bumped into him. The tea master, not being the confident person that the other samurai was, went, "Whoa." He says, "Ah, you're afraid of me? Meet me tomorrow. We will duel." Now, the tea master's freaked out because he's thinking, "Oh, I'm going to get in trouble because tomorrow my master is going to have to fight this other guy." So he wakes him up and he says, "Look, this is what I did." He confessed, I wore your clothes, went out on the street, and Ronan over there, he saw me and he bumped into me and I got scared, and he put you to a duel, and tomorrow you're going to have to fight him." And the samurai says, "I ain't got to fight him. You got to fight him." He says, "What do you mean? I'll surely die." "Yep." "Well, what should I do?" "I don't know. I'll tell you what, let's have tea." So she was like, "Okay." So he begins to make the tea. Now, he's a tea master. In Japan, making tea is a special thing. And so he gets into it. He's like in the zone, you know. He's pouring out the right amount of the powder, and he's stirring it, and he's mixing it, and he's heated the water to the perfect temperature. He's got the bowls all out there, and he's doing this whole ceremony. And the samurai's watching him, and he goes, "Ah." He says, "Tomorrow, I know what to do. Tomorrow, you will go, and you will meet Ronan, and you will carry my garb. But before you fight him, you will make tea." "Okay." So the next day he does. He goes and he sets up his stuff, and Ronan's there sitting. He's like, "Are we going to fight or what?" "We're going to have tea." "Fine, whatever." So Ronan watches this man make the tea, and he sees the precision, the confidence, the wisdom, the centeredness, the groundedness that he has when he's doing the tea, which is his heart and soul. And Ronan's thinking, if this is how the dude makes tea, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't want to fight you. Okay, cool. Game over. Set, match, done. Confidence. Confidence. Knowing that what you are here to do is what you are here to do will get you through whatever tricks and turn that trick into a treat for your life. It will advance your soul, move you to the next phase. So you think, but Steve, some of these things are mistakes, man. I just made a mistake and I can't get over it. You know what a mistake is. It's just a sin and a mistake. Same thing. Archery. Bing, you missed the mark. You made a mistake. They mark a sin. Boom, one against you. There's no punishment for your mistakes. When you move beyond it, re-aim the arrow and shoot again. Now, the law of cause and effect will seem like a punishment, but the law of cause and effect has a certain consequence for our behavior. But if we look at our behavior and really get centered around it and then change that behavior, we will have a new outcome. See, our failures, our stumbles are really the human paste of what makes life really, really sweet, tasty. I had a a dog, Lambert. And at the time I had roommates. It was my first Samoyed. Samoyeds are ornery critters. They're very, very smart. They're little devils, they are. Not Satans, devils. And I'm trying to train this puppy, and he's so cute. My roommates ruined everything I would try to do. They would not stay with it. So Lambert was nuts. He was just psychotic because he tried to do what I wanted to do, but he also tried to do what my roommates wanted him to do, and that just wasn't working. And eventually I moved out, and I moved into a house, and I had a nice backyard for the dog, and he was a terror. He would bark all the time and just be just a bad dog. But he was my dog, and I loved him to all my heart, you know? And I was trying to work with him, but it just wouldn't work. And so I thought maybe he needs more space, more something that a college kid can't give him. So I went to this guy, I put an ad in the paper, and the guy came by and he looked at him and he says, I don't know, did that Texas thing. But he looks like a good dog, but I don't think so. Well, long story short, the next day, the guy came back and he stole my dog. My neighbor said, did you give the guy the dog to the guy with the pickup truck that came by yesterday? I said, no. He said, he came and took the dog today, and I did not know where the man was. Dog was gone. Trick. Terrible. No treat feeling there. But I got over it, decided I'd go get another dog. Went to the pound, because now I'm trying to, do the right thing, get dogs from the pound. And because I had done all that training, I went, and as I was going through the pound, I looked, and oh my God, there's a Samoyed here. Well, it's more like a Spitz Samoyed mix, kind of that big. I'd like him dogs this big. He was about that big, but that's okay. His name was Nigel, and I looked at him through the fence, and I said, Nigel, sit. Nigel, down. Nigel, come. All the commands through the gate to a stranger. This is my dog. Let's go. Took him home. How about that? Tricks or treats? You move beyond that, Oh, another Nazarene story. This is my favorite one. I told you the first Nazarene story, so I could tell you this one. So there's this beggar, and he's starving, and all he has is bread. And he's going past a restaurant, and the guy in the restaurant's making soup. And the beggar takes his bread, and he holds it over the steam coming off of the soup. He flavors his bread with the smell of the soup, and then he eats the bread. And the restaurateur gets pissed off and says, hey, you got to pay for that. He says, pay for what? Pay for what you just did. I'm taking you to the judge. Well, the judge happened to be Nazarene. So the restaurant guy tells his story, and Nazarene goes, And he reaches into his pocket, and he takes out his change, and he says to the restaurant guy, come here. And he shakes the change next to his ear. He says, what is that? That is your payment for the soup smell. Right? Nazarene is down. I love me some Nazarene humor. He's got a lot of wisdom there. Let's go to Dr. Holmes, see what he has to tell us here. In a two-parter, he says, there could be no God who creates us with tendencies and impulses we can scarcely comprehend and then eternally punishes us when we make mistakes. How about that, huh? God of love, of goodness, gave us a lot of stuff to work with. And he's not pissed off at us if we don't know how to work with all of it really well. Sometimes we have to work it. Sometimes we have to get into some mistakes. Sometimes we have to go through some tricks so that we can find out just how these tendencies can be comprehended, how these impulses won't be so scary to us, how they can be part of what makes us good. We must never forget, God is a universal presence. This is a two-parter. God is a universal presence, an impersonal observer, and a divine and impartial giver, forever pouring himself into his creation. Now think about that. You are the creation of the divine. And here's this energy, this impartial observer who cannot do anything but continue to pour his goodness into you. Man, you wake up a lottery winner every day. Who can, you may go to Vegas and not be able to beat the house, but you don't have to leave the house to beat Vegas. You got it going on because you got this impartial, universal, loving presence forever pouring that presence into your soul each and every day. You should walk out of the house like just boop, 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 boop. Oh, dog stuff? Oh, well. Boop, 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 boop. Spider web? Who cares? Boop, 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 boop. Parking ticket? I got money. I'll pay it. I mean, that's how life should be. That's how it can be. When you understand this stuff and when you live from that perspective, you'll end up with a dog that will understand all the commands. So hang in there. God is not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. when you have a mistake, it's not, oh God, how did you do this to me? Although there was that time that St. Teresa had a thought like that. She was riding her horse across a stream and got kicked off. She was on her way to a monastery and got kicked off the horse. And she's going, oh my God, if this is how you treat your friends, no wonder you have so few. But God's not like that. This is kind of land on you late. Do I have to tell it again? Did you miss it? So St. Teresa, you know who St. Teresa is, right? Right? No. St. Teresa of Avila. St. Teresa, the older one. She created a lot of monasteries through Europe back in when Johanna helped me, 1500, 1700? Long time ago. You know, when you could make a business out of going around making monasteries. So she's riding to one of them thinking she's on her holy business. You know, I'm doing my good thing for God. Everything should be great. I should be able to forge this river without any problem at all. But the horse didn't want to do it, so the horse bucked and kicked her off. And she's now soaking wet. And you know, back in those days, they wore wool. That stuff was heavy. So now she's heavy and she's wet, and she's like, dear God, if this is what you do to your friends, no wonder you have so few. It didn't even help the second time. Hang in there. That's what this section's about. Hanging in there. Life is good. Sometimes it feels a little hard, but that's okay. You can recover if you just stay with a one-pointed focus that life is good. Hang in there. And if all else fails, carry around a quartz bowl. You tell it this time. You'll have the mic later. You tell it then. Oh, we're having fun. Did somebody at home laugh? If you're watching this online and you laughed the first time, send me an email, revsteve@cslcme.org. Love you. Thank you. Hi, Mom. What do you mean you're not watching? She better be watching. Okay, let's go. Ernie, help me. What you got? More wisdom. There is no, this is so perfect. I need this one myself right now. This is no weak man's job, life. This is, boy, I tell you, don't you just love God? Huh? I mean, I just flopped not one, but two, but three times on that one. That's right. This is no weak man's job, but an undertaking for a strong, self-reliant soul. And the end is worth the effort. The end is worth the effort, isn't it? I love you guys. I might have to take video of every single one of you. It's really about perception, though. It really comes down to perception. Change your perception around things. Change your conditions. Change your relationship to the conditions in your life. Know that the tricks in your life really are treats. That we are standing here on a doorway to heaven. Dr. Holmes says, heaven is lost merely for the lack, merely for a lack of perception of harmony. Heaven is lost for the lack of a perception of harmony. And that perception is right here. So that means heaven is right here. Hell is too, just a thought away. You can flip it just that easy. So the brain doesn't really recognize too terribly much. I mean, if you study the brain science carefully, you will understand that it is harder to hold on to the positive thought. But generally, the energy in the brain doesn't really care whether it's being used to hold you in the consciousness of heaven or the consciousness of hell. It's up to you to make that choice, to stand at the doorway of heaven and to walk through. As I say, it's just a thought away. And I want to close with arm extenders. And one of my favorite poets, David White, he has this lovely poem. This is just an excerpt from it. It's called "You Are Not a Troubled Guest." You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You are invited from another and greater night than the one from which you have emerged. Another and greater night than the one from which you have emerged. Now, looking through the slanted light of the morning window toward the mountain presence of everything that can be, what urgency calls you to your one love? What shape waits in the seed of you to grow and spread its branches against a future sky? Listen to that. What shape waits in the seed of you to grow and spread its branches against a future sky? Is it waiting in the fertile sea, in the trees beyond the house, in the life you can imagine for yourself, in the open and lovely white page on the waiting desk? To become human is to become visible while carrying what's hidden as a gift to others. To become human is to become visible while carrying what's hidden as a gift to others. To remember the other world in this world, to remember the other world in this world, is to live in your true inheritance. Wow. Live in that inheritance. Invite others to consider this. The tricks of the world are the treats from another world, the world of your true inheritance. You are the gifts. Enjoy your tricks. They're treats, and so it is.